Playoffs are in full swing, Bird Gang, and sadly we're not part of it, but we got a lot to talk about here to get ready for this NFL 2026 season, and of course the draft coming up sooner than that. Let's get after it. Welcome back to Cardinals Daily. I'm Eddie Law, and I got you when it comes to Cardinals news, talk, reports, rumors, everything. Thank you to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring this video. If you're already part of the squad, appreciate you for writing with since day one. Really appreciate you. And if you're new here, smash that sub button. It really helps out the channel, and the more we grow, the better content we can bring you guys every single day. Again, huge shout out to Underdog Fantasy. Bird Gang, we're adding something new to the show here, a question of the day. So hear me out, ponder the question, and then put your answer in the comments. Today's question: with 3 of the 4 NFC West teams in the playoffs, there are some who believe that we as Cardinals fans should root for one of the teams in our division to get to and win the big game, of course, right? Me personally, nah, I will never do that, right? I just can't. You know, these guys are our rivals. I wish them nothing but L's, and more L's, and just as many L's as possible. But I'm a competitor, so I don't want them to win. I want to win, right? Call me a sore loser if you want to. I hate losing. So, Bird Gang, will you be rooting for the Rams, Seahawks, or Niners to get to and win the championship? Or are you like me, die hard, no nonsense, Bird Gang till I die, go Cards, and everybody else? Answer in the comments below, and I'll put your comments up on the next show. All right. This one's a little bit of a, I want to talk about this way sooner, right? But I was waiting for more to come out, and nothing really came out. It was a really quick, kind of a quick 3, 4, 5 minute moment at the press conference with Michael Bidwill and Monty Austinfort after they fired Jonathan Gannon, right? But it was so tone deaf to me, and I wrote everything I want to say about it down, and I'm going to bring it to you now because it really bugged me, and especially as a season ticket holder. And if you go to Cardinals games, I think you'll understand what I'm talking about. So while we're still processing this brutal 3-14 season and the firing of Jonathan Gannon, Michael Bidwill stepped into a spotlight for a very different reason. Ticket prices, concession prices, parking prices, everything, the cash you dish out to go to a game. Bidwill came out recently defending those price hikes in that press conference with Monty, framing them as necessary business decisions tied to rising costs, investments in the fan experience, and keeping pace with the rest of the NFL. By the way, that fan experience thing he said, we got more local catering and better Wi-Fi. My guy, no way. Get out of here with that. Like, first of all, the Wi-Fi is terrible in the stadium, no matter what. So whatever you did sucked. All right, but the concession stuff, okay, whatever you want to say, bro. All right. And the explanation may make sense on a spreadsheet to him. And, stuck up, suited up, sticks with their butts type of, board member type of people, right? But it's landing with a thud with everybody else, and especially the fans, okay? And the timing is terrible, okay? In sports, timing is everything. And the Cardinals just finished one of the worst records in franchise history. We're on our 4th straight season without playoff football. We've endured, coaching turnover, quarterback uncertainty, and long stretches of unwatchable football. And that's when you asked us to pay more, Mike? That's a disconnect right there, Mike. You're missing the plot. Fans aren't upset simply because prices are going up. Most understand inflation, especially with our country going through what it's going through right now. Most understand the business of the NFL. What they don't understand is being asked to invest more while the product on the field continues to be utter garbage. Okay? Bidwill's argument is pretty straightforward. Okay? Operating costs are rising. Teams across the league are adjusting prices, and the organization continues to invest in facilities, staff, and fan amenities. All true technically, but the problem is we don't care about the balance sheets. We care about Sunday. We care about blown leads. We care about empty seats by halftime. We care about watching division rivals contend while we reset again. When ownership talks about investments, fans want to see returns and victories and at least competitive teams. Not promises, not timelines, not empty words. Right now, there's a massive gap between what we're paying and what we're receiving. This is not about money. This is about trust, okay? For years, we've been asked to stay patient. We've been asked to buy into a process, right? To believe that the rebuild is one season away, one piece away, one hire away, right? To accept that next year will be different when every single year seems to be the same over and over again. And then prices keep going up. All right, pace is worse than on everybody, right? We're not walking away because we can't afford football. We're walking away because we don't feel respected as stakeholders in the franchise. Loyalty feels very one-sided here, right? And accountability, there's no accountability for Michael Bidwill. He's the owner. You can't fire the guy, right? And his defense is crap. Really is, right? This is magnified about where with the division that we're in. The NFC West is stacked, right? With competent ownership, not ours. Aggressive front offices, hell no, not ours. And consistent winners. Do I even gotta say it? Those teams raise prizes too, but they also raise banners. They host playoff games, Mike, and they provide moments fans are proud to pay for. I would love to go to a playoff game at State Farm Stadium and dish whatever money I need to and be like, I was there when. I would love that. Okay? But two things. We don't have a playoff team, and we haven't had it for 4 years. So there's no place to put my money in. Plain and simple, right? We're not asking for cheaper beer. We're just asking for honesty, for fair price for the value you're providing. Okay? We want to know what the plan is. We want to know who's accountable. And obviously Jonathan Gannon wasn't held accountable for this past season. We want to know how this is going to be different than the last reset. Why should we believe you this time? Right? So defending price hikes without pairing them to tangible progress on the field? I mean, what are we doing, Mike? Right? Especially to us, to our fan base that's already emotionally exhausted in every way you can think of because of this team playing the way it's been playing. Like, Mike isn't wrong that running an NFL franchise is expensive. It absolutely is. But leadership isn't about explaining costs, right? You need to understand the situation all around and the big picture of it. And then the details, okay? Because right now, what we don't need is a business lecture, Mike, okay? We need reassurance that our loyalty still matters, that we are still cared about as fans, as ticket holders, as season ticket holders, as club holders, all that, even as single game attendees, just as Cardinal fans. Okay, we want to know that our money is being matched by urgency, by competence and direction on the field. Okay, until that happens, these price hikes will feel less like a necessity, and they'll just feel like an insult, because it does feel like an insult at this point, Mike. Right, 3-14, and you jacked up my prices again? Look, in the NFL, we will pay. Fans, we will pay. But it's really hard to do it when we don't believe in your product, in you, and your ability to lead a franchise. Just telling you how it is, Mike. You can dislike it all you want to. Your yes man can tell you it's not, that I'm wrong all you want to. Deep down, you know I'm right. You know I'm right, okay? And And things aren't looking good in our quest for a head coach that I want, okay? In our quest for John Harbaugh, an allegedly leaked list of demands has been released by ESPN Cleveland's Tony Grossi. And it's way too rich for your blood there, Mike. Pretty sure it is, okay? So I'm considering us out of the Harbaugh sweepstakes. I'll explain why in a second. At first glance, the idea of John Harbaugh being fired after 18 seasons with the Ravens was wild, okay? It was a slap in the face of one of the most accomplished coaches of his generation, for the most part. Now it just looks like a kick in the bank account for them, right? On March 28, 2025, Harbaugh signed a 3-year extension through 2028 season worth roughly $17 million per year, right? When Baltimore let him go after an 8-9 season, with just 1 year removed from an AFC Championship game appearance, he still had 2 years left on that deal. That means he's going to get paid around $34 million from Baltimore, regardless of what he does next, okay? Look, he's 63, right? He's taken teams to 12 playoff appearances, 6 Pro Bowl, 6 division titles, 1 Super Bowl victory, a 13-11 playoff record. Only Mike Tomlin has been with one team longer among active coaches. So here's a reality for you. John doesn't need another job. He could retire tomorrow and still collect millions for years. Even if he takes another job, Baltimore will still be paying part of that bill due to offset language. So if John Harbaugh coaches again, it's not going to be about money, okay? It's going to be about 3 things: power, control, legacy. And he set himself up real good for it if this list is true. According to Tony Grossi, here's what it would take to land John Harbaugh, okay? $20 million per year salary, $10 million assistant coach budget, total authority over the roster, strong influence or outright control over the GM role. That is a franchise power shift, not a normal head coach hire. Let's put it in perspective. Andy Reid makes $20 million a year. That's the highest in the NFL. Sean Payton makes $18. Jim Harbaugh makes $16. Okay, so John Harbaugh just wants to sit at the very top of the mountain and reshape the organization that he works with or for. Okay, on paper, I believe we look like a perfect landing spot. Okay, he brings things that we need. We need credibility. He brings it. Structure. He brings it. Instant respect. That on day one he brings that. Okay, but I just don't think Mike's gonna do it. Because this isn't about whether Harbaugh is worth it or not, because he is. This is about whether Michael Bidwill will fundamentally change how the team runs. Okay, and history says he's not going to do it. Okay, paying $20 million a year for a coach would make Harbaugh more powerful than the GM, more influential than the ownership prefers. In fact, more influential than Michael Bidwill goes. Okay, if John Harbaugh said boo Michael Bidwill every time he comes on the field, we would boo the hell out of Michael Bidwill every time he came on the field. Okay, he'd be the final voice on personnel decisions, and that's not how the Cardinals have ever operated. Bidwill has consistently favored shared authority, right? Cost control, organizational balance. Giving one guy a full roster of control, especially someone not drafted into the organization, would be a dramatic philosophical shift. Then you got to look at the optics because it doesn't look great either. Okay, Bidwill's already paying Jonathan Gannon, right? He has significant guaranteed money tied to Kyler Murray still. Rising operational costs, as we just talked about here a minute ago, in adding another massive guaranteed contract at the very top is going to be a tough sell for Mike a tough pill for Mike to swallow. Okay, and bottom line, look, John's available for the right price, and the price is in dollars. It's power. You got to give, you got to hand it to the guy. He's earned it at this point. For a franchise willing to hand over the keys completely, Harbaugh is a once in a generation opportunity, I believe. For us, it would require Michael Bidwill to do something he's never done before. Just be the owner and shut the hell up and go sit down somewhere. Okay. He would have to relinquish control and spend at a level reserved for the league's most aggressive ownership groups, competent owners. So, while this is going to remain a fascinating idea, I don't think it's reality. I don't think Bidwill's going to open the checkbook for John Harbaugh. In fact, I guarantee you we're not even going to call him for an interview. Although John Harbaugh did come out, or his representation came out and said he's only going to talk to a few teams, and at this point he's earned that right. So I don't believe we're one of those teams he's going to talk about. I really wish we were one of those teams you want to talk to, but it is what it is. But it's not all bad for us, people, okay? Because you could still win every single Sunday. What am I talking about here? Because football playoffs are here, and Underdog is the best place to get in on all the gridiron action. Playing Underdog is super easy, fellas. Just pick your favorite players, whether we're going to go higher or lower on stats, right? We're talking touchdowns, rushing yards, receptions, and way more than that, okay? Go check it out. It is dope. I've been playing. It is awesome, all right? Get them right. And you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. With the playoffs just days away and plenty of marquee matchups coming up, it's all in your wheelhouse to win big, baby, with your entries on Underdog Fantasy, okay? We just finished the first, almost finished the first walkout. I know tonight we have a Monday night game, of course, who was it? Texans and, who plays tonight? Whoever plays tonight. But we just got through a bunch of wild card round games here. The game I'm looking at here for this week, Niners versus Seahawks Part 3. Official, baby. And I got my eyes on the signal callers in this one. Brock Purdy averaged around 240 yards per game this season. But with George Kittle likely out for the season with that Achilles injury he suffered against the Eagles on Sunday, I'm going to take the lower on that one. Meanwhile, on the other side, Sam Darnold got the first seed and the bye. But while I still think Seattle pulls this off, it won't be because of him. Give me the lower than his 240 yards per game in this one as well. It's going to be a wild one, but it's going to be a good one for you on Underdog. So, what you waiting for? Download the app today. Use promo code FOOTBALLFAN, all one word, to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code FOOTBALLFAN, all one word. Underdog. Make picks. Win money. And talking about making picks, big question coming up with us as we hold the third overall pick in April's NFL draft. And when you're picking that high, the pressure's enormous, right? There's going to be blue chip players on the board. There'll be quarterbacks, offensive linemen. There'll be defenders who can change a franchise. But here's the reality we have to face. This pick is only going to fix one problem, and we have a ton of them. So what are we looking at here? Okay, we are looking at something a little different than what I've been talking about. Okay, look at what this roster needs, honestly. Okay, we need a young quarterback. We need two offensive guards, probably a tackle, right? A right tackle. A backup center would be nice, and we need linebacker help, right? I believe that the offensive line problem is up here, and the linebackers maybe down here. That's just my opinion. We got to protect the quarterback, whoever it is. Now, we look at recent history. Last year, Monty used 6 of 7 draft picks on defense. Okay, so that tells you exactly where the front office sees this rebuild, right? Defense first, identity first. Okay, cool. Early draft projections suggest the top 2 quarterbacks, which is Fernando Mendoza out of Indiana and Dante Moore, if he comes out of Oregon, could go 1-2, right? Raiders pick first, Jets pick second. Both teams are better in quarterbacks, and both teams are still hunting for the future. Okay, so when we're on the clock, the quarterback decision may already be made for us. And it's kind of that's kind of what it is. And that is where Mr. Arva Reese enters the conversation. Reese is declared for the NFL draft. He's not just another good prospect. 6'4", 243. Reese has been placed on many draft outlets as the number one defensive player in the entire class, rotating that designation with another player I like, we'll talk about here in the next couple days, Miami defensive end Ruben Bain Jr. Reese's resume it's dope. It's deep. It's great. Okay, and I'll start from the very beginning. At Glenville High School in Cleveland, he won a state title. He was named a Division IV Defensive Player of the Year. Earned first team All-Ohio. Played in the Army All-American Bowl. Right? He was a 4-star recruit with offers from just about everybody. Right? Alabama wanted him. USC wanted him. Michigan, Penn State, Kentucky, Nebraska, Iowa, everybody. He chose Ohio State, and he played like it. Okay, Reese he's not a one-dimensional linebacker whatsoever. He split his time between off-ball linebacker and edge rusher, which is great in the NFL because he's versatile, scheme flexible, and physically overwhelming. All traits we want in our defense, especially in our linebacker core. Okay, his stats are wild in terms of his physical traits. 452 speed in the 40. Or 4.52 speed in the 40, elite closing burst. He's got violent hands, quick first step, sideline to sideline range. This kid can move like crazy. Exceptional lateral agility. He can cover line to line. It's great. In 2025, he posted 69 total tackles, 10 tackles for a loss, 6.5 sacks, 2 pass defenses, however you say that. 14 starts, and was named a consensus All-American, first team All Big Ten linebacker of the year, and he was part of Ohio State's national championship team. Was it last year? I think so. That man is he's just dominance. Okay. We need a defensive. Look, we don't just. Okay. We need a defensive quarterback. Does that make sense? Right. And on defense, the quarterback is the linebacker. Okay. A linebacker who aligns the front. He cleans up mistakes. He allows safeties and corners to play fast. He gives the defense an identity. And Reese can be that guy from day one. Pair him with Budda Baker. Pair him with Josh Sweat. Walter Nolan III, Jordan Birch. Suddenly, we have a defense that can dictate instead of react. Okay, in the NFC West, that is key to winning the division. Reese has missed almost no time. The only injury he ever had was a concussion during his freshman year. Right? He's also an Ohio State scholar athlete, super smart, majoring in human development and family science, earning academic honors in both 23 and 24, and that is great because he's smart. So if we look at all the traits we just looked at here, he's smart, he's durable, he's accountable, and he's a leader. Look, if the quarterbacks are gone or if money isn't sold on the quarterbacks, if he's not sold on the lineman, I don't know what to tell you, okay? But Arvell Reese would not be a consolation prize, okay? He's a franchise level defensive, cornerstone, right? It's not going to fix everything because, one pick's not going to fix everything. But Reese will fix something important: the heart of the defense, leadership on defense. I love Mike Wilson, senior, and he's been a great leader on this defense, along with Budda Baker and Calais Campbell, who hasn't announced if he's retired or not. But to bring in a guy like this that has that fire in him, that edge to him, it's not a bad pick. It really isn't a bad pick. As much as I want Fano or I want Maigoa, I would not be upset if we got Reese. Now at that point, then Monty would have to get off his ass and definitely start going to sign some linemen. But better be going to that free agent list, boy. All right, you better get us some linemen, because whoever plays quarterback for us is screwed behind this line. We need a line to protect any quarterback at this point. Okay, get to it, Monty. Get to it. All right, folks. That's gonna do it for this episode of Cardinals Daily. I made it all. Don't forget to hit that sub, hit the bell, hit the like, leave a comment. All right. These are my I guess there you go. Twitter and Instagram. If you got, I've had a few people asking how to get a hold of me or follow me or whatever. Those are my personal ones, of course. I also use this one for the Cardinals Daily Show. Okay. So, Bird Gang, I will see you guys all tomorrow. Shout out to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring the video. As always, I will ride with y'all. Bird Gang to the very end, till the wheels fall off. Go Cardinals.